Hello and welcome back. To finish off our Love Calculator app, I just want to make it a bit more colorful by adding an icon, which is of course also an excuse to show you how to use icons with Ionic. Here where we display the names, like as usual Romeo and Juliet, instead of the word and, we can show a heart symbol to mean love. Ionic provides a beautiful icon set called Ionicons. Let's go and find it in the documentation. If we go back to home, we can see there's a section called Ionicons. So these are all the available icons provided by Ionic. It's quite a long list, so I'm not going to show you all of them. What I want you to notice is that there are different variants for each icon. There's an iOS style, an iOS outline one, and one for material design. That's the style used by Android. We also have a very convenient search box here. So to find a suitable icon, we can just search for heart, for example, and that will show any icons matching that keyword. As you can see, there is an icon named heart, which is exactly what we want. If we click on the icon name, we even get this pop-up window showing a code sample. So all we need to do is copy this line, close everything, go back to our editor, and paste our heart icon between name 1 and name 2. Let me split this into multiple lines so it doesn't overflow out of the screen. As you can see, to display an icon, we use the Ion icon component that has a name attribute where we simply pass the name of the icon, like heart in this case. And if we save this, there's our heart icon. It's black by default, the same color as the text, but we can change the color if we want to, just like we did with the navbar in the header. We can add a color attribute, and I'm going to use the danger color that, if you remember, corresponds to red in the default theme. So we get this nice little red heart icon. And if we enter something like, again, Juliet and Romeo, we see Juliet heart Romeo. Sweet. As a final observation, if you remember when we looked at the Ionicons documentation, there were different variants for iOS and Android or material design. What's that for? To understand that, we can enable device mode in the Chrome developer tools. This way, Chrome will emulate a mobile device and we can select different models. Let's start with the Nexus 6P, that is an Android device. I need to zoom in a little bit, otherwise it's just too small. And let me refresh the page as well to make sure it detects that we're pretending to be an Android device. What we're seeing now is the material design style. It's actually exactly the same that we've seen so far, because material design is the default platform style in Ionic. But notice how, for example, the title is aligned to the left, and if we focus an input field, there's a little blue line underneath. After we enter a value, the input line becomes green. They're all small things, but let's see what happens if we select iPhone 6 instead. Again, let me zoom in and refresh the page. You can see that the title text is now centered and not left aligned like on Android. The font is also different if you pay close attention. If we edit the field, there is no colored line at the bottom. As for the icon, the heart is also slightly different now, although it may be difficult to spot in this case because the difference is quite small. Anyway, what this shows is that Ionic automatically applies different styles depending on which platform our app is running on. And this feature plays a big part in making sure that our app looks like a native mobile app. This should also give you a better understanding of why it's important to use Ionic components whenever possible. So tags like Ion header, Ion title, and so on, rather than standard HTML elements. It may seem overkill to have 3 custom components here just to render the title bar, but keep in mind that each Ionic component supports different styles and automatically adapts to the platform we're running on. As a side note, this device mode available with the Chrome Developer Tools is quite convenient for testing styles, but be aware that it's very different from running your app in the Android emulator or the iOS simulator. Chrome is simulating an iPhone here, but only in the sense that the window size reflects the iPhone screen size, and is sending a user agent header to the server pretending to be an iPhone. But in this mode, we don't have access to any native iOS functionality, of course. For that, we'll need to use the iOS simulator that comes with Xcode. And same thing for Android, we'll need the emulator that comes with the Android SDK. We'll talk more about the tools required to build our app for Android and iOS later in the course. Anyway, that's it for our Love Calculator app. We can say that it is now complete. So far, we've been running our app in the browser using the local development server started by the Ionic serve command. In the next section, we'll see how to build and deploy our app as a website or progressive web app. I'll see you later.